Joe Biden is now officially the Democratic nominee. But the convention is only half over, because tonight, the big speakers were Barack Obama and Kamala Harris, the first ever black woman to be nominated for VP.
And this was the first time she did not have to use seduction of any kind. Oh yeah, I went there.
Although according to conservative media, she might not be black enough.
Some have challenged her racial identity and criticized her for identifying as black when her parents are Jamaican and Indian.
When we talk about, quote, African American, her father is from Jamaica. He isn't from Africa, he's from Jamaica. So she's not really an American black.
Kamala Harris is not an African American. If you dare raise that, you're attacked. But the truth is she's not.
She's not African American. She doesn't have slave blood. She's not down for the struggle.
She's constantly talking how she went to an historically black college. She is adopting Oakland as her hometown, even though she grew up from the age of 7 to the age of 18 in Canada.
Kamala Harris descended from the largest slave owner in Jamaica. Kamala Harris seems to be descended less from the legacy of, let's say, Frederick Douglass than she is from the legacy of the plantation itself.
Wow, that is fascinating, and I know a lot of people haven't heard that before, Dinesh.
Okay, and after seeing all those clips, it comes clear that, she's from Jamaican heritage. She's not, really African, because aren't we trying to say that people from Africa are the ones that are oppressed the most because of the whole slave, that kind of crap? And I guess somewhere down the line, she was like, hey, I'm one of you guys. And we're trying to say, no, you're not. You were never oppressed, or you don't have any family history where you were oppressed, so butt the fuck out. I mean, you would think that Black Lives Matter would actually go after Harris and cherry pick that and call her out on it. But I guess not, because, hey, she's not white, so she's got the golden ticket to slam us whites. Something like that.
Okay, first of all, being partly descended from a slave owner is one of the blackest things that can happen to you.
If we're going to play this little game, Trevor, then every single person in the world have someone in their family history that may have been a slave at one time. Every single one. You don't hear any white people with Irish blood in them bitching about, what happened to their ancestors in the past during the Irish slavery times, because, what's done is done. It never happened again after that. We moved on. Just like how we tell people of African backgrounds today to, get over it with the slavery thing. I mean, we're talking something that happened almost 400 years ago. And they keep on blabbering about how horrible it is. And it's like, okay, do you want to have an interview with one of these slaves? Oh, wait, you can't. They're dead. And here's a little bit of trivia for you. Did you know that during the whole African slave trade thing, the African tribe leaders would actually pick out his own people and sell or trade to anyone who wants to purchase them? Yeah, why don't you go blame the tribe leaders that? Oh wait, that's right, they're dead!
In fact, you know who was also the descendant of a slave owner? Frederick Douglass. Yeah, so the guy you just tried to use as an example of someone who is super black is also, by your metric, not black enough.
But Frederick Douglass was a slave at the time. Harris was not. She was never a slave. Where you go? How do you equate the two? I do not get it. And speaking of Douglass, he's done like a list of accomplishments in his time. Like, he was a hardcore anti-slave guy, and he fought everything tooth and nail against it. And if you do a simple, biography search of the guy, you just look at all of his accomplishments. He was great. What has Harris done? Aside from, having an affair with an already married guy who was like 3 times the age of her, and severely punishing someone who will carry like an ounce of a harmless plant in their pocket, like a severe jail time. And then she said that, if she had the power, that she would give Congress like a certain amount of time to do something gun control wise. Like, if nothing has come up, she would automatically, make an executive order to lay down the gun control, and we would be fucked. Oh, and once again, I need to point out, Frederick Douglass was an African. Harris is Jamaican.
Look, ma'am, you can dissect Kamala Harris's heritage however you want. But to say she's not black? Ask yourself this question. Is she black enough to get kicked out of a restaurant back in the day in the Jim Crow South? Huh? Would she have been black enough to get redlined? Is she black enough to be kept out of a whites-only school as a little girl? Then she's black.
What's that? Would she have to deal with all the ridiculous laws and rules that really discriminate against black people back in the day? Probably. But guess what? All of that is now gone as, 60-some years ago. We don't deal with that anymore. Redlining is illegal. Anything discriminatory is now illegal. So she doesn't have to worry about that. I love it. It was bad back then, so it must be bad now. Kind of crap.
People want to be like, oh, you're not black, you're not black. There's a little simple test here. You know how you know you're black? If you're dating a white person, and before you meet their parents for the first time, they start a sentence with, hey, listen, so before we head inside, you're black.
I did mention that he's a comedian, right? I just want to make sure.
And what's especially ironic about these people trying to exclude Kamala from blackness is that it's the reverse of what white America did for centuries, defining as many people as black as possible, whether they wanted it or not.
Color and who qualifies as black, who qualifies as white, has historically been policed not by those who were the targets of oppression, but by those who set up the system of oppression.
In America, blackness was defined by that auction block. You were black if you could be put on that auction block and sold as property.
Following the abolition of slavery, some Americans feared a rise in interracial relationships. So states began passing laws to make sure that any child with even one drop of Negro blood would be classified as Negro and denied the rights of white people. This became known as the one-drop rule.
The one-drop rule was an attempt to save the so-called purity of the white race.
By 1925, nearly every state had a form of the one-drop rule on their books.
All you need is one person, 5 generations back, who is black, and that is enough to make you black.
Seriously? One black person in your family has the power to make you black, but all the white people in your family can't make you white? If anything, I feel like this was also racist to white people.
This one drop rule has got to be the stupidest idea ever. This is, oh my god, it's like that, I did a video a while back and I showed a clip of Liz Wheeler talking about the virus thing, the testing, and how they expand the image to the point they actually detect the virus, but it's already dead. This is what this whole one drop thing is like. They just keep expanding and expanding until they find one little thing, and that's supposed to mean something. Actually, is this what Elizabeth Warren did when she, tried to prove that she's an Indian? She had to go back. Let's go all the way back to find out. I was like, hey, there it is. That one little speck, that's Indian. So I'm Indian. The 1024th. And a thought just came up. What are your thoughts on, people like Sean King, Rachel Dolezal, or Nuka Zeus? White people that turn themselves black, just like that. You don't say anything about that, do you? You praise them, just like how the Turks praise them, and basically everyone else just praises them. How do you explain that crap?
I mean, imagine that. They were basically saying 10 white sperm is not as powerful as 1 black sperm. That is an insult to white sperm, and I'm offended on behalf of all my white brothers and sisters.
Ugh. Sorry again for the joke. I'll try my best to try to cut his jokes out if I can.
Basically, these people were so afraid of black people that if you had so much as 1 drop of black blood, they wanted nothing to do with you.
And yet you, Trevor, still support a political party to this day that was famously known for treating blacks like crap. All of the ridiculous discriminatory laws to their false promises and how they will help them when they end up not helping them.
And here's the thing. This definition of blackness was never meant to accurately portray the black experience or many shades of blackness itself. It was made with the singular intention of finding the most efficient way to exclude as many people as possible from whiteness.
That kind of sounds like what Black Lives Matter has been doing since the beginning, trying to exclude people from whiteness and traditional families and men, straight men with families, Yeah, it's messed up.
So yes, it is disgusting that these people are now trying to disqualify Kamala Harris from being black. But I will say this, Kamala, don't worry. This might also be a rite of passage on the road to greatness. Because you see, it turns out there's another black person who also wasn't black enough.
Rupert Murdoch suggested President Obama isn't a real black president.
He hasn't actually had the African-American experience. In fact, he's not descended from slaves on either side of his family.
Obama did not grow up in poverty. His grandmother, the typical white woman, worked in a bank. He wasn't down with the struggle. He doesn't have slave blood.
This guy grows up in Hawaii with a Kansas mother. His life is different. He doesn't suffer in many of the ways that blacks growing up in this country have suffered.
He is not the descendant of blacks who suffered these Jim Crow laws, who suffered through slavery. He is not the son, the grandson, the great-grandson of American blacks who went through the American experience.
Okay, wait, hold on. So these people agree that the American black experience is about struggle, suffering, and oppression. But when black people are protesting that oppression in the streets, suddenly they're like, why are you guys protesting? You people got your Marvel movie? You guys remember Wakanda Forever? I don't know why you guys are complaining. And that's one of the things I've always found particularly interesting.
Because they're protesting over nothing. They keep talking about slavery, but slavery has been dead for hundreds of years. They were never slaves. They were never oppressed. They were never severely discriminated at. So yeah, I think it is fair to ask this question, why are you guys protesting over something that has never happened to you, and has never happened to your parents, that has never been happening for hundreds of years? Why are you bitching about this now? And more importantly, why are you not bitching about blacks committing crimes to other blacks in your cities?
Your blackness as a person is never questioned in failure, but in success, it gets put under the microscope. Like when a black person steals something, or when they sell crack, or when they shoot another black person, I've never heard anybody on Fox News going, hold on, this might not be black on black crime. Maybe it's half Indian on black crime. Or maybe his great-grandfather was a white man, crime on crime.
Maybe because they do a better research than MSNBC, CNN, Huffington Post, BuzzFeed, New York Times, Reuters, or hundreds of other mainstream media outlets out there. Fox News, they do a better job than all of them. Since 2016, when have we ever seen like one correct, accurate, truthful story from any of the MSM? Any? I can't recall of any, because I'm too busy seeing, CNN showing footage of a protest and saying that it's peaceful, yet there's a burning building like directly behind them.
But as soon as blackness is being considered for excellence and perfection, what is often being considered the domain of whiteness, that's when white people start questioning someone's black credentials. I mean, look at Obama. He spent his entire life as a black man, even had the fro. But as soon as there was a chance that he was going to become the first black president, all of a sudden it was, well, he's not like black. I mean, if anything, he was more shaped by his white mother from Kansas. So if anything, America's getting its first tan president. But then a funny thing happened. Once Obama got into the White House and conservatives didn't like his policies,
like Obamacare,
he magically transformed into that black-ass homeboy who's destroying the country. Didn't hear a lot about his white mom in Kansas then.
Because wasn't that like his main target to get his support are mostly from black people, so he needs to relate to them?
So I guess that's the silver lining for you, Kamala. Fox News may be questioning your blackness now, but best believe, the second you step foot into that White House with Joe Biden and you make a few decisions they don't like, trust me, you'll be black as can be.
Oh my god. This video was suggested to me by a good friend / artist / subscriber, Chocolatte, because apparently on one of her online classes, the teacher made her and the students sit through this crap. And unfortunately, because she spoke out, disagreeing with the video and just questioning it, some of her friends are now like, they're treating her like crap. So this is totally unfair to her. I gotta have a talk to the teacher about this. Excuse me. Ah, so you're Chocolate's teacher, huh? You're the one responsible for showing them that crappy video, was it? So you're responsible for ruining her friendships with other students? Take this!